podcast. This is ABC DVD, two brothers' alphabetic journey through a DVD collection who will close the beaches and ruin your summer fun. I'm Noah.
I'm Josh.
And yes, today we are doing Jaws. The very first or the start of the summer blockbusters.
Basically, the invention of the summer blockbuster is because of Jaws. Yeah.
Yeah, this and Star Wars really changed.
Jaws started it, and then it's like, oh, that was an oddity, and then Star Wars did it again, and then they did it again, and then like Indiana Jones like, oh, yeah, this is a way to make money.
Yeah, well, and to go straight to the money point of this, it cost $9 million to make, which was an absurd amount at the time.
Yes.
But it made $476 million back. So I'm sure a lot of the executives are like, oh,
yeah, it coveted. This is like how difference, a few decades is. That's like, oh, across that coveted threshold of 100 million, it's like, wow, that's huge. It's now $1 billion. I mean, I know with inflation and all that, but even still, that's adorable.
Yes, a 1975 film directed by Steven Spielberg. So you get to play what is IMDb's top Spielberg films.
Oh god, that's hard.
I'm gonna put 4 on here.
Okay, let's see. Raiders of the Lost Ark,
1,
E.T.,
2,
Schindler's List,
3.
And then are they gonna do a stupid one like no? Okay, Saving Private Ryan then.
Bing!
Okay.
You get all 4. So yeah, I mean, it's a. I was like, for once IMDb did the. Oh, okay, I'll agree to those.
I'll agree to those. Yeah.
It was written by Peter Bencelli, who wrote the novel.
Yep.
And also by Carl Gottlieb, who did Jaws 2, Caveman, and Dr. Detroit.
Of course, all those good ones.
Yes, we all know Dr. Detroit, you know, after he got his MD.
Yeah, no.
The cast is Roy Scheider, who is known for All That Jazz, The French Connection, and Jaws 2, and I know him from Sequest.
Yes, Sequest, that he also did 2 seasons with Steven Spielberg on, and then they both said, no, we're tired of the water.
Robert Shaw.
Yep, I know him from The Sting.
Yeah, The Sting, A Man for All Seasons, and From Russia with Love.
Yep.
And Richard Dreyfuss, which IMDb chose The Goodbye Girls, Close Encounters, and American Graffiti. And I just want to put in
Mr. Holland's Opus.
Mr. Holland's Opus is my personal favorite.
Like, I would have like Mr. Holland's Opus and maybe The Contestant would have been the ones I would have guessed, but yeah.
But I mean, it's good to put American Graffiti because that is his first, and that's also a Lucas connection.
Yep. Yeah.
It won 3 Oscars.
Yes. It did not win for Best Director, and there's a funny story that Spielberg, after seeing like the blockbuster, Finanza that this was, he was anticipated for the win and like had a film crew with him. It's like, oh, I guess he wasn't actually at the Oscars or something like that. But yeah, no, didn't win.
Yeah, it would be a long time.
Not on Schindler's List, I think. Yeah.
So, the synopsis.
Okay.
When a killer shark unleashes chaos upon a beach community off Cape Cod, it's up to a local sheriff, a marine biologist, and an old seafarer to hunt the beast down.
That is a bad joke of a sheriff, marine biologist, a seafarer walking to a bar. Yeah.
But I mean, this is, for better or worse, a classic Spielberg, John Williams. You get a lot of iconic things going on that get troped through.
I mean, this is a creature feature horror film.
Yes,
and it feels weird to say that because this is such a big monumental movie in the history of movies to say, oh, this is on par of like the Creature from the Black Lagoon, or but that is what it is. It's a killer shark,
but it's done in a way that's not like. It never says like, oh, this is like a radioactive shark that's 50 feet long. It's like, no, it's a large shark.
It's a large shark that is a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more intelligent than usual, but still just a shark.
Right. But we get the intro.
Yeah.
We get the iconic, music, whichever. Dun.
SpongeBob, that be B minor and 4/4 score. That's Death on the High Seas.
But I mean, it is funny when John Williams first did the song. I can't remember if it's Spielberg or one of the producers laughed saying, "Okay, now give us the real one." He goes, "That is the real. That is the real one." And they were like, "Oh."
Well, yeah, I don't think it was Spielberg because Spielberg was a John Williams fanboy.
Yeah.
Because he had worked with him on his first film, Sugarland Express, and there's this like funny story of he knew John Williams' work from other movies, and John Williams is like 20 years older than Spielberg.
Yeah.
And they said he wanted to talk to me about making music for that film, and they had like this luncheon, and usually like it's a martini lunch, but Spielberg took him to a fancy restaurant. It's like, it was like having a teenage date when it's like this guy's like barely older than my own kids, but he impressed me, and you know what? I decided to work with him forever. And
yeah,
like,
one. I think a lot of John Williams' most iconic stuff is from Spielberg movies.
And because of that meeting led him to Lucas and then giving him his other iconic, gigantic hits. So a chance, what was called a teenage date led to all these great, phenomenal things.
But we start with a first-person camera view, and I'm going to have to rely on you. Yeah. Is this common of the period to like kind of have these like viewpoint of the shark or the monster?
Yeah, I mean, it is like, for opening credits, gives some tension and viewpoint of like, this is also what is a major theme of the production of this movie is that the shark didn't work. So they had to find creative workaround. So this point of view would be one of them.
No, and I know that's what it gets praised for. I mean, and a lot of things like it allows the person's mind to, envision the shark without having to show the shark.
Yeah. We got the opening credits,
youths
the
on a
theme,
beach,
and these damn hippies on the beach. Yeah,
youths on the beach, and Christy wants to go swimming.
Yep, and this is a warning of like you're out there in teenage love trying to get lucky. Don't drink too much.
Don't drink too much. A, it's bad to swim. B, you may not make it to the water. Too.
Yeah. So, but
I was. A lot of this does work because it's older, grainier film.
Yeah.
You don't get to see a lot. It's a lot of dark shadows. It's a lot of darkness on darkness.
And it is that classic, the opening of a movie of we're gonna have an attack at the beginning,
right? And I think this is one of like a handful of iconic scenes of where she gets dragged around in the water,
and it is, and that first attack where she goes, it is kind of.
You feel it in your own chest, and then when she just gets pulled under, and it's quiet, and he lets you
the buoy
sit there in that audience and feel it.
Yeah. But then we go to the next day, and the sheriff wakes up to his 2 phones, and saying that the dogs need to be walked. Fun fact: that's Spielberg's dog. He wanted it in the movie, but
yeah, no, it's Chief Roy, and we're gonna get a day in the life of Chief Roy. It is that kind of fun thing where you get to get thrown in without a lot of backstory on this person.
We do learn like, they're from New York.
They're from New York. They're obviously their first season.
It says new post on this island, like Martha's Vineyard, but it's Amityville, island, a fake island.
But I mean, it's the idea that he gets called out, and he's liking this life because it's less
quite
chaotic than New York City, which he's obviously from working before. Gets a call on a girl missing.
Yep.
And then they find the girl.
Yeah, or parts of her. And they had a thing about when they found the body, it was like just the hand, and it was like a fake hand. And he's like, no, this is just too fake. Hey, which woman, crew member wants to be buried and put crabs on you? Okay, cool. This will look a lot better if we can do that. So they buried a crew member.
Yeah, I would love the cops like, okay, who wants to volunteer? Because if not, we're picking someone. But it shows, because they obviously he puts down it's a shark attack.
Yeah.
And we get going through the town, and you can see that this is a touristy town. And you get really quickly that you have the mayor of the town saying like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, no,
you're a new butter, man. You're a newbie.
Yeah,
things happen in the water all the time.
Yeah.
You can't yell shark.
Yeah,
no yelling shark in the theater.
Yeah, no, don't do that. And so it's like, no, you're gonna keep the beaches open. It's gonna be fine. And so we get the next day at the beach.
Well, and this is also I said it's playing with expectation of we get shark roulette. Is it going to be the big woman? Is it going to be the dog? Is it going to be the kid? Is it going to be the couple?
Well, and there's a couple of things in the scene I want to talk about. Like this, it was actually presented to me in film school of how brilliant the tension building of the scene is.
Yes,
because there's a guy who wants to talk to the sheriff.
Yeah, blocking views,
and the audio is perfect. You can hear exactly what this man says. No one ever listens to this man.
Well,
in any viewing,
he has an issue. There's a red zone parking in front of his house.
But I love this, like, if you show the scene normally and don't tell people to pay attention, and then stop the scene after the guy leaves, it's like, what did he say? And everyone's like, I don't know, because like the sheriff, the scene is making you not pay attention. But I love it, like it's not, the audio is not blurred out. It's like it is perfect audio, and it's one of those like this shows the focus of the character and the audience at the same time.
Right, because there's screaming, there's things moving in the water. You as an audience member are the sheriff. You're on high alert. The dog is the first to disappear.
Yeah, and I was like, I hate this movie because they killed a dog, but for honestly sake, as a child, I did not know a dog died in this movie until like much later. I went, wait, that dog died. I just never knew it.
Right. It is, it has the floating wood.
Yeah.
But the second one is the kid. And I have to say,
Miss Alex Kittner. Yeah.
This scene messed me up as a child.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I, if we all have those movies, as a child, like what movie really scared you? And I've got a few more of these.
Yeah.
But this scene did make me scared to go in the water, which was, the kind of the tagline of the movie.
Yeah.
It's like, this scared me. And I still felt it today. It's like, ooh, I'm still having those reminiscences because I think it's the idea very much like the beginning scenes of It. It's the idea like of an innocent being killed affects you a little bit more than like, oh, well, it was a jerk who got eaten by the shark.
Yeah, and it's one of those.
It's upsetting.
It's an upsetting scene, and it was apparently filmed a little bit more upsettingly that you actually saw the shark grab him and flip over like a shark would, and you'd see him in the torso. And it's like one of the few times that it worked properly.
Yeah,
and they said this is a little too much. This might get us an R rating, so let's like tone it down. Which also is still terrifying of that. You see the bubbling in the blood,
and the kid being pulled down.
The kid being pulled down, and then what you get what is called colloquially known, depending on what generation you're in, of a vertigo zoom, or for a while a jaw zoom because of this shot.
Yeah,
but it's a zolly, also colloquially known, and that's where the camera is put on a dolly track.
Yeah,
and it is either pushed forward and zooming out to make that background, foreground, I
had like a camera pull.
It's a camera pull and a zoom at the same time.
Was this the first time doing it?
No, because Vertigo did it a whole bunch.
Okay,
that's why it's called Vertigo.
Spielberg is borrowing.
He's borrowing. I mean,
it's a famous scene.
It's a famous scene, and it's done very well. And it's this is just a non-related but fun little story of the kid's character's name Alex Kittner and stuff. The woman who plays his mom, decades later went to a sandwich shop and saw on the boards like, oh, it's like the Alex Kittner special sandwich, whatever.
Okay.
And she just kind of chuckled to herself and told the person taking her, I was like, I played the mom in Jaws. I was Miss Kittner. And he was like, hold on one second, and went back to the kitchen, and a guy comes running out, and it was the actor who played the boy, and they hadn't seen each other since the movie. They had a nice little moment. It's like, oh, that's neat.
That's cute.
But
no, there's chaos.
Yeah. On the chaos, I meant to say of a lot of the extras on the beach were locals who were just said, hey, come out to the beach, we'll give you like a couple bucks.
Yeah.
But they weren't really told what the movie was about. And so like everyone's like, okay, what should we do? And then they hear the sheriff yell, shark out of the water. They thought there actually was a shark, and like it was messing up the shot, so a lot of people panically were running out of the water.
Well, if you want to get an honest reaction out of people, like what is it? It's like the Kubrick method, It's like no, we're not going to tell you. We're just going to put you in a stressful situation and get your reaction.
Yeah, exactly.
But this chaos moves over into the town hall, which I appreciate. This movie versus modern day movies is it doesn't make a meal out of the bureaucracy, but it does put it forward of saying, hey, we're in an awkward position of this town runs on these 3 months of summer, and you're asking us
to lose a month, basically, or two
months. It's like it could put really dire straits, and I think that is where a lot of horror movies or any movies, the excuse of why you don't have your cell phone in the woods or the excuse of why aren't you doing this is flimsy. This one makes a little more sense of them saying, like, are you going to close the beaches because that's going to really affect
safety
us.
Versus economics, as we learned in the pandemic. There is a balance.
There's a balance, and I think this being 40, 50 years old now, it's like,
it is, isn't it?
This excuse still holds true.
Yeah. And we get the introduction of Quint on Nails on a Chalkboard. And it is great of Robert Shaw, as this, New England fisherman. It was said that he was a joy to work with when he wasn't drinking. Problem was he was drinking.
Drinking. I heard that him and Richard Dreyfuss did not get along.
I was going to mention that when Richard Dreyfuss would help
with their character dynamics later.
But because I love this movie, so I've watched like all the documentaries, all the things there was a secondary introduction that they cut out, and I'm glad they did. But if you ever want to have a fun moment, go on YouTube and find it, because it's Robert Shaw going into a store and there's a kid playing a clarinet, and he just mocks the kid like behind him going blah, 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 blah. But it's like, okay, it does make you seem like an a-hole, but in this is more and this is better for the tone of the film. But I'm glad that scene exists on YouTube.
It's like later on we find out like no, they weren't actually filming. He was just being mean to a kid on set.
But
we get he'll kill the shark for $10,000,
and then he kind of disappears.
Yeah, he just walks off.
Yeah.
We get a quick scene of the sheriff, studying up on sharks so the audience can figure things out.
Yeah.
I
do like that interchange with his wife of, no, just let it be in the boat, and then she sees a picture of the shark bringing the boat.
Sharks can take boats down.
Like, get out of the water!
Get out of the water!
Yeah. But
we get another scene that I think was made famous by like the Universal rides and stuff, was fishermen chumming the water.
Yeah, on the dock.
And the dock breaking it. This is, I think, the first instance of where you're not dealing with your average shark.
The shark could take down a dock.
Take down a dock. And, it's a very lucky. It's that Spielberg-esque. It's like playing with that expectation of like he's doomed. It's like, oh, get your feet out of the water. Get your feet out of the water.
The tension. He is very good at building tension at a very young age.
Mm-hmm.
But
we flash forward to the fisherman army are assembling. They are a motley crew of bumbling fools.
Yeah, and we also get the introduction of Robert Duvall's character of Hooper. Of
you mean Richard Dreyfuss?
Richard Dreyfuss. Sorry, you're right. Sorry.
Of Mr. Hooper, or Dr. Hooper, the scientist,
the oceanic, and all the. So like none of these boats are going to do it.
I appreciate Richard Dreyfuss in this. It's like you're a lot funnier than I remember. Mm-hmm. Where he's like he mutters a lot to himself. It's like, oh, you're all gonna die.
Yeah.
It's just like, but the motley crew of people somehow capture
a tiger shark.
A tiger shark. Richard Dreyfuss like, I don't think this is the right shark, but I can't be sure.
I do love that, like, quick, like, I wonder what kind of shark this is. I was like, it's a tiger shark.
A what?
A what? Yeah.
But we also have, in this, jubilation, the mom coming up and slapping the sheriff.
And this was a actual slap. She did not know how to do a stage slap, so the actor says, like, this was one of the most painful movies I've ever had done.
Having done a play in college where I had to be slapped, we tried to do the fake slap, and it always looks bad because either I was pulling first or she was
not doing
slapping.
Face,
I said, honestly, just hit me. It's going to be
better that way.
Everybody's like, but I got hit like 10 times in a row. And eventually you're like, can we just say that this scene's okay?
Yeah.
But I mean, it is a fun slap because or scene.
Yeah.
It's a fun slap, but it's a fun scene. But because it does show like he was damned if you do, damned if you don't, because it's like, it's like, oh, that wasn't fair. It's like, no, it is fair because
I could have said no. I could have,
I didn't.
But we also, I do like this moment afterwards with his son mimicking, because this is an actual oddity for Spielberg of having a normal family,
a humanizing moment,
because usually the family unit tends to break down sometime in the film, or it's already broken down, like you don't have a father figure, don't have a mother figure.
This is true.
This is one of the few ones where they're solid, which is interesting because they did play with the idea of having Hooper have an affair with the sheriff's wife, and I'm glad they didn't do that. So
that would be weird.
It'd be weird, and it's like, well, it's because the author who was doing the screenplay kept suggesting, like, well, we need this side plot, and we need this side plot, and then we need this romance. He was eventually kicked off the set. So
okay, thanks, bye.
Yeah, so. But this is a very nice moment.
This is your I like the humanizing moment. I do like, it's like, I need a kiss. Why? Because I need one.
Yeah, I had a bad day.
You had a bad day. You get the backstory on Hooper. You get the backstory on the chief. He doesn't like the water.
Yeah.
But basically, it's like, we need to cut that shark open because that's the only way we're gonna know if he ate that little boy.
Yep. Find out he doesn't.
He doesn't. The shark is filled with milk and junk.
And one of them's a license plate with a 007 because Spielberg wanted to do a Bond film. But never happened.
But there is no shark, so they're like, okay, we need to go do a shark hunt at night. Mm-hmm. You get to see all the fun beeping machines.
Yeah.
The the underwater detective work is gonna commence, and this is probably another famous scene. And I think if I remember correctly, Spielberg back in the 70s and 80s got crap for going a little too far with the gruesome, and I don't remember if it's this or a leg scene that he got crap for. It's like, you didn't need to be that.
Well, so he fought for the scene of the headless corpse, eyeless corpse in the boat, and he had to reshoot it because it didn't look right. So he refilmed it in a swimming pool, and they used milk to make it look like the ocean. And then the studios actually decided, because he was going to pay out of his own pocket, the studio's like, no, that it is actually better. But Spielberg actually ended up kind of regretting this shot, not because of the gruesomeness, but he said on test films, when the shark comes out of the water for the chumming scene, that was the biggest jump. But when he added this
is
scene
the big jump scene.
This is the big jump. And then it lessened the jump scene for the shark. And he said he learned his lesson that when you're making a horror film, you only get one really good jump scare, because after that, the audience is onto you and is going to be waiting for another one.
That's true.
And so that he said it lessened the jump scare I wanted. Is like, so good that it's in there, but I learned my lesson.
Yep. They figure out it's a great white.
Yeah.
But they can't convince the mayor
to close
the beaches, and so the beaches stay open, and you get the tourists flocking in. The mayor's out, talking to other people, and he chooses I call it the sacrificial lamb of like, get your butt out into the water so everyone else will go. And I feel for this family. I'm like, you are going out into, you can see, you're putting your family because the mayor told you to get out there.
Well, and this is why it's like that risk of whatever they say, like a politician isn't doing anything right, or putting this economy over safety. They always like, you're the mayor from Jaws. I mean, this became a touchstone.
Well, and I, the chief, who's obviously on pins and needles, tells his son who got the boat. Could you go do it in like the kiddie pool in essence? The little lagoon off to the side. The son agrees to it. We get some
kids praying.
We get the dorsal fin, the almost cartoon dorsal fin. You find out that it's a prank, but because of that distraction, someone else yells shark, and they're like, "Oh, what now?"
Yeah.
But the shark is in
the lagoon.
Lagoon, which. It's cool.
like that story.
But this, I remember this scene because we did take the Universal tour back in the early 80s, late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
And this was one of the scenes that they did is like where the boat's out there, and the shark knocks them over. But and this kid sees the shark go right past him, and he's frozen in fear.
Yeah, it's again one of those times of, if the shark had worked, they had this planned scene of the guy getting knocked out over the boat and then like pushing the kid out of the way and then getting attacked by the shark. But it's like, no, this just was easier.
I mean, it is that kind of funny thing. Is like, this works better because you don't see the shark.
No, a lot of things, as I said, the shark not working was actually a blessing in disguise, but he didn't know it at the time.
Right. Going to the hospital. This is where the sheriff is able to shake the mayor down, saying like, you're not going to give me the $10,000. We're going to hire Quinn. We're going to go hunt this thing now.
Yeah, we now get into it's the last half, but it's actually like the last 45 minutes of, we are now on the hunt for the shark. Versus,
right. Quinn and the scientists have a pissing match over who is nautically sound. But this is this is where the movie shifts. This is almost in essence a different movie now, where we are, like you said, we're going out to sea. We're gonna get like the boats, makes and shifts. We get Chekhov's exploding tank.
They said they established the heck out of the tank.
This tank will explode. This tank will. If you look at this tank wrong, it will explode. Just remember. We get the first time that they get the shark is this kind of clicking reel, which I think is done well. It is like the setup, like, I'm going to put my harness on, I'm going to click it in. There is a lot of a meal made out of it.
Those it's like, you can't just use a regular fishing pole. You have to use these other things, and it's like, and it's a process. And he's like, no, I wasn't supposed to catch him with this. I'm supposed to bring him up to the surface.
Right. This is part one, but it's like, it is. I'm glad they made a meal out of this.
Yes.
I will say later there are things they make a meal out of. Like, okay, now you are really, but. The line snaps. we get continues like, okay, we're gonna now really chum the water, and this is where I think you get the famous line that is always misquoted.
Yes.
Is you're going to need a bigger boat.
Yeah.
Everyone always says we're going to need a bigger boat.
Yeah. No,
but you, as you were saying, this is the first time we actually see
the shark. Yeah. I mean, the shark only has like 5 minutes of actual screen time in this entire movie, and oddly, that line was ad-libbed.
Yeah. Well, no, it's like I come back to it's like there is a long history of ad-libbed lines
being
that actually stay through history better.
Yeah, they're the more it's like that. Living in the moment, actors reacting. But we find out it's 25-footer, it's 3 tons.
It's big. A big
and
shark.
we get the solution to the shark not working of the yellow barrels.
Yes.
And that's this is what saved the movie. This is those yellow barrels are all we need to know is that there's something down there.
There's a shark down there.
Yeah.
But we get the first barrel and it goes down and they're like, this is
well, and you get this Hooper and Quinn's you took forever to do it. I only got one shot off of it. And before saying this look of the two of them is you done messed up. I know you done messed up, but you're not going to apologize,
right? Well, and it does kind of pay off later. There's a bonding moment
over the scars. Yeah,
over the scars. It's cute. You get the story of he was on the USS Indianapolis.
Yeah, and so this is one of those major moments where the drinking was a problem. So they said they were actually drinking to maybe have it seem like they were provoking and comparing scars. Great for that half of the scene. He could not nail the monologue. And Robert Shaw called Spielberg that night, very apologetic and said, "Can we please try again? I'm so sorry." And he knocked it out of the park with this monologue. Yeah.
No, and it is a good story, and it basically it is we had an origin story of why
Hooper likes
sharks.
Yeah.
This is the other side. This is why I do not like sharks.
It's like
because
both had
I was in the water.
Yeah, both had shark
and
attacks
back and forth
in their youth
and
had different reactions.
I mean, I know it's necessary, but there does come points it's like, oh my god, if I have to see you guys shoot another barrel into this shark, I swear to God.
But I do love on some of the attacks, the fires, Chief put out that fire. It's nonchalant. It's not a meal, but it's it's the boat's falling apart.
It does work, but it basically comes to a head when it's like, okay, we're headed back to shore.
Yeah.
The shark is chasing us
and pulling. Almost pulled us under, and you can see that moment when Quinn's damaging the engine.
Yeah,
it's it's a nice silent acting of he's afraid.
Yeah,
this is him being afraid. He is now wanting to get back to land.
Yeah, and he basically pushes the engine until it explodes. And we get now you have the good excuse of the ship sinking.
Yeah, and so we got to use the cage.
The cage plan.
Yeah.
This is just because I have gone scuba diving. I am certified. The spitting in the goggles is real.
Yeah.
Is if you want to make sure your goggles do not fog up, you could buy anti-fog thing. Just spit in it. Your spit has if you this is your life hack. Spitting causes things to not fog up.
And it was a great moment because he has dry mouth because he's terrified. I mean, it's a nice way of instead of saying I'm scared, it's just I can't spit.
Yeah, but I mean, this is also one of those scenes that I think works better because it's old film of the graininess of the water.
Yeah.
Works with the shark disappearing and coming back and destroying the cage, which I think if it was HD film now, it's it might be lost in it.
Yeah, and I do a little bit before this, but it attaches this of as the boat's taking on more water, Quinn grabs life vest, but he takes a moment.
Yeah,
and he only gives it to the other two because he says, "I'm never wearing a life vest again." So,
but
and Hooper was supposed to, and this cage shot underwater is the shark attacking, and this is a combination of the model ramming the cage of a actual shark that was lured in in a studio setting, but they said it was a smaller shark, didn't look as well, and some stock footage, but the cutting between all of them made it a tense moment. And Hooper was originally going to die here, but they didn't like it, so
he goes and he hides underwater.
Shark jumps on
the shark jumps the boat
on the Orca, which fun name for the boat.
Eats the captain.
Yeah, and again, they like this ending better because originally it was with all the lines as an establishment, they were thinking it'd be a line would catch him on his leg, they'd be pulled under, kind of like Captain Ahab. But it's this one's a little bit better, And this is one of those times where the mechanical shark worked really well.
Yeah.
And it is funny because there's a story of before the filming had begun, but Spielberg took his two friends, George Lucas and Martin Scorsese, as young 21.
I know those guys.
20-year-olds, it's hard to think of them that way. They went to the model shop and they were looking in, and then Lucas put his head in the shark's mouth. I was like, that's pretty big. And one of them pushed the button to make it close on him as a joke, and then it wouldn't open up. So he was kind of stuck, and then they finally got him out, and they all kind of scampered away afraid that they broke it. But yeah, it's like, the shark Bruce, named after Spielberg's lawyer, was notoriously bad at working. But
and if you wonder, that is also why in Finding Nemo, the great white's name is Bruce.
Yeah,
but we finally get the payoff of the tank in the mouth.
Yeah,
we get the famous line, "Smile, you son of a boom."
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and Richard Dreyfuss comes back up. He's okay.
Yeah, and
they're gonna swim back to shore.
Yeah. The idea of like this being the first summer blockbuster was kind of driven home at this point, is because of all the problems of filming. This got delayed, and it was supposed to be a winter release, and it got pushed to the summer and that was a problem because summer was when they put the garbage films out. Because they didn't know about this. It was so popular, people left the beach, that they would pack the theaters. They would walk, line around the block.
Yeah, blockbuster.
That's the blockbuster. They said on the first viewing, because Spielberg thought this was going to be like a flop because of all the problems. Spielberg, thought this was going to be a flop, and he even wasn't there for the explosion on the shark, which was like the last shot of the film, because usually there was like a prank played on the director, and him and Richard Dreyfuss were on the plane, and Dreyfuss like, oh, how'd the last shot go? It's like, it's going on right now, and they just laughed and laughed. But no, it did so well, and it's like it broke all the records. It was the greatest film of all time until Star Wars broke it a couple years later. But it was like this. It changed filmmaking, and but Spielberg is like, this was he contemplates suicide because it was so bad. He's like, my career's over.
Yeah, before it began.
And it's like, I'm never going to do another movie on the water. My next movie is going to have no water. It's not even going to have a bathroom scene, which he kind of lived up to because it's Close Encounters. But there wasn't. Fair enough. There were bathroom scenes in that. But it is and was a phenomenal turning point in cinema.
And I do remember, because it is the tagline of "You won't go in the water." Is it did scare people? And I said I can't remember if it's Spielberg or the author or both. Said they do feel bad for the stigma it gave shark for decades. It still lives on today.
I know the author felt bad about it, because then he wrote another shark based book that showed the benefits of sharks on the ecosystem, but of course didn't sell as well. But it did more harm than good. But it's like, it was supposed to be a creature feature that this was Spielberg had done 2 movies before this, and this was they finally gave him a bigger budget, but it was still not one he got to really choose. And it was it was just, it was supposed to be a one and done kind of thing. And,
this is the birth of the Steven Spielberg that we know. Is right here. This is the first blockbuster, and then he goes on to do other big films,
Close Encounters and E.T., and then just becomes a household name.
Exactly.
I have a poster of Raiders of the Lost Ark in my office, because it kind of gave me, not only is that a great movie, but it gave me a push in film school, because I love seeing the tag. From there's a line up there saying, "From the creators of Jaws and Star Wars." George Lucas and Steven Spielberg weren't household names; they were nobodies, and that's how they were known. But now, if they make a movie, it's a Spielberg movie.
Yeah, it's of course, it's gonna be big and big and good.
Yeah, but and I highly, I watched this movie a lot. I still love it. I still think it's great.
For a 50-year-old movie,
50-year-old,
it's it holds up. Even it is the joke of the shark doesn't look real. That's okay, but it's but it works.
It's like I said, 5 minutes of this film. Yeah.
So, a movie that may work, may not, but it's fun, is Kelly's Heroes.
Yes.
That's arcade.
Yeah, that's arcade.
This is a World War II
heist comedy.
Comedy. It is a star-studded cast of U.S. GIs trying to steal Nazi gold. So what's not to like about that?
Yep.
So if you can watch Kelly's Hero, great. I hope you've watched Jaws. I'm sure most of us at least know the story at this point.
At least know of it. I mean, I would never suggest any of the sequels.
No,
but this standalone is phenomenal.
Yep,
I still love it. All right. Well, thanks.
Bye.
The story of that one Bond lieutenant villain.